So this video is going to cover the exact outreach system that you should be building for 2026. I'm going to walk you through each step that you see on the screen right now. And for context, I've been building cold outreach systems for almost 4 years at this point. And what you see on the screen is the product of that. It is the Scale Sprint system. It is the offer that I have. I built this for agencies in my company called Scale Sprint. And I actually also launched a new offer where I essentially help other cold outreach agencies build this for themselves and their clients. So if you're interested in some of my offers, you can check them out in the description and the pinned comment. But anyways, let's get into this system here and why it works so well for 2026. So first of all, the two channels that we use, these are unlikely to change at all in the decades to come. It's cold email and LinkedIn outreach, because LinkedIn is the biggest business platform, and email is here to stay. People communicate via email; they always have, and probably always will. So these are the channels we're going to use for the top of the funnel. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to funnel this traffic into one of the three following call to actions. So either we're going to ask people to directly book a call, we're going to send them a lead magnet, or we're going to do an interest-based call to action. It's really important that you choose the right call to action, because what I see so many times is that people do not match their offer or the problem that they solve to their call to action. So you're sending a short email, 2 lines, you mention some problem that you solve, and then you expect people to book a call with you based on 2 lines. It's not going to happen. So you need to think about how you structure your call to action, and you can also test them, right? But if you have a really strong offer in a space that is not that saturated, you could easily just do a direct book a call to action and just say, hey, do you want to hop on a call? But if you are in a saturated space, you are going to have to create a lead magnets that they have to sign up for, and you capture their email and you nurture them through email marketing, which not enough people are doing. Or you do an interest-based call to action, where you just ask if they're interested, and then you have a conversation with them and try to convert them into a call over email. So this is what you want to do here. And I think that the most difficult parts of cold outreach in 2026 is turning positive replies into meetings. And so right now, it's really not that difficult to get people to say, I'm interested, tell me more. It always has been easy, and it always will be easy, because it's so low friction, right? You see something, you get an email from somebody, you say, oh, this looks interesting, tell me more. The difficult part is getting them on to that first micro commitment, which is hopping on a call, which is a way, way, way higher commitment than just saying I'm interested to an email. So this is the real stuff we want to talk about, is this step here. And the first thing you want to go ahead and do is every time you get a positive response, you want to add it to a newsletter list for future use. Newsletters are really powerful. The way I structure newsletters is I like to basically start out with some great case studies initially in the newsletter, and then just go into systematically responding to every single objection you can possibly think about, one email at a time. And so people that are in this newsletter, they're slowly going to see, oh, okay, this objection I had is actually not an issue because of this, this, and this. And you keep doing that, and you're going to just get clients by doing this on autopilot. So we want to save all the interested responses for this newsletter list. Now, also what you want to go ahead and do is you are most likely, if you do high volume outreach, you're going to get a lot of website traffic. So you want to capture that. You want to funnel it into our B2B to capture their information, and you want to send that back into a high buying intent campaign. So you can start sending these people cold emails, and typically that will have up to a 30% positive reply rate. So that is a very strong hack that you can use. The next thing you want to do is you want to very, very closely monitor the percentage of leads generated that are qualified. I see this so many times. People generate a bunch of leads. They're not really tracking the quality of the leads. They're just kind of like, oh, this is low lead quality. The calls are not that good. Well, you should be tracking this meticulously once you get the positive responses. And if there are any issues here, that probably means that the entire list is unqualified, or most of it. And so you need to really measure this quickly and do changes accordingly. So this is super important. Anyways, once you get a positive response, what we're going to go ahead and do first of all is we want to really start following up quickly after they have expressed initial interest, because you want to capture the interest. You don't want to let it die over multiple days. So the day after that they have responded with interest, like so on the first day, you want to just respond to them immediately, ideally within like 1 minute. You want to respond to them, you want to call them, whatever. The day after, you want to send them a follow-up email, and you want to pitch the call in this email, and you want to reaffirm the value of the call. I have a whole video about offers and how you can sort of position the initial call as valuable. So you can go ahead and watch that video. But this is really important that you want to go ahead and send this email the day after the initial interested response. The day after you send that email, you go to the next email, which is basically more details, more social proof, And if they do not respond to that, then 2 days after that, which is 4 days after the initial response, you want to send a personalized video and a no-brainer offer, or basically a front-end offer, something that is easier to commit to. And you also want to make it personal. That's why I mentioned the personalized video here. If that does not work either, then we say, okay, we are going to basically send these people into a 90-day follow-up plan. And the concept with the 90-day follow-up plan is basically the same as with the newsletter. We're going to systematically answer every single objection that they might have in this 90-day follow-up flow. You might say, well, how do you know this works? Well, first of all, I implement it for clients. I do it for myself. I know it works. But also when I look at what I would respond to. So oftentimes when I get an email, I often respond to people and I say, hey, I'm interested. And they follow up with me maybe 3 times and then they give up. Now, the reason why I did not book a call with them is because I have some sort of objection that they do not know about. I have an objection. They don't know what it is. And they're just giving up. If they were to follow up with me, I keep reading these emails. I actually don't block people. I keep reading them. If they eventually hit that objection, they might convert me. But people are not doing that. And this is so important for converting B2B buyers in 2026. This is how people buy. People get so many emails and you need to take that into account. You need to be the guy that is so persistent when it comes to this stuff. You need to be so persistent. This is the word of 2026. It's persistence and outreach. So that's the first thing you want to do. But you also want to go ahead and do multi-channel nurturing. So people have different channels that they prefer to be contacted on. Some people are SMS people, some people are LinkedIn people, some people are WhatsApp people. So you want to use all channels. And every time you generate a positive response, you want to basically put them into these different sequences on SMS, on LinkedIn. You want to send them a 10-step sequence on each, and you want to just get them from all angles. And I actually have one example of a B2B company that I bought from. I bought a service from them, a high ticket service from them, and they were following up with me on SMS. And I was like, okay, they're following up with me on SMS. I've never seen anybody go out of their way to do that. So I respond on SMS, we talk on SMS instead of email, where they initially acquired my interest. And then I ended up buying because of that SMS sequence. And this can also happen on LinkedIn. So you got to really do a multi-channel approach. This is super strong. And you want to do that in conjunction with this other email flow. Now, obviously what we want to do here is we want to be able to book a call, but we don't just want to have them book a call. We want to have a very strong thank you page with clear instructions. And the way I create my thank you pages is basically having a 7-minute explainer video and then an FAQ on the thank you page. You want to nurture them on the thank you page. And this is going to increase your show up rates, and it's going to increase the quality of the calls because people are going to go into the calls with more knowledge. And you also want to have a pre-call flow as well. And this pre-call flow is going to contain your best case studies. On day one, you're going to send your very best case study. On the day after that, you're going to send the most the biggest transformation that you've ever done for a client is the day after. And you also want to start answering these FAQs. You want to send case studies and proof in your pre-call flow. And don't be afraid to be kind of redundant with stuff. Like, you can say things multiple times in the same emails because repetition helps people understand. So don't be afraid to really hammer home a point on your thank you page in your pre-call flow. It's going to help the prospects understand it. So, and then what I always recommend is going with the 2-call close. And then having the first one basically be a discovery call where you establish a gap following the gap selling framework. So if you haven't read that book, I recommend reading it. And then on the second call, you want to basically pitch and you want to present your solution as the fix to the gap that you've established on the first call. And you want to get really clear on what is the gap, because this is cold traffic. This is not referrals and introductions. This is cold traffic. You don't know these people. They don't know anyone that knows you. It's very different from referrals. So you really got to establish this gap, and you really got to present your solution as the best fix to that gap. And that's going to help your closing rate. Now, if they do not close after the second call, which happens in a lot of cases, maybe 80% of cases or 90% of cases, whatever the case might be, then you want to send them into another follow-up flow, which can also be structured as a 90-day follow-up plan. So that is pretty much the system here, the initial system here. And also, once you do capture, let's say you're doing a lead magnet and people sign up for it. Again, remember the newsletter. The newsletter is really important, and you can do that in conjunction with your other follow-up stuff. So yeah. Now, this system here is also important. This is what I call the 2-month TAM recycling system. So there are a few different levers that we can pull when we send cold outreach, right? And one of the biggest ones is volume, because the results are linear with the volume, at least in a vacuum. So we want to be able to send as much volume as possible. So how do we do that? Well, the way that we do that is we map out your entire total addressable market, and we find as many people as we possibly can, as many decision makers as we can, and we want to target these people as often as possible because that will enable us to increase the volume. So what you want to do is you want to reach the entire total addressable market with one email sequence every 2 months. So this becomes an infinite cycle of retargeting, right? And you might say, oh, well, won't they get mad that I reach out to them after 2 months if they didn't respond back then? No, people forget you. People don't remember you that much. So you want to be able to reach out to people, your total TAM basically, or your entire market, and then you want to just send the emails again, present the offer. You can always change it up. 2 months later, you can position your offer in a different way. But this is going to enable you to maximize volume, which is really going to drive the results for you. And you just remove the people that say they're uninterested or unsubscribe, or people that are already in the funnel. You remove them and you retarget the rest every 2 months. And this is what I've been doing for years. That's why I never run out of clients, is because I just keep doing this. I just keep recycling the TAM. And you can just do that in perpetuity pretty much. So it's just a system that you'll always have to generate clients. And it's a very good skill to have. It's a very good system, a way of thinking about it, because this is basically the same thing that happens with paid ads, right? You just pay Mark Zuckerberg to distribute the message to the same people over an extended period of time. This is why companies can run ads forever, is because they still have the same target audience. They might just switch up the message or the creatives and so on and so forth. So this is basically the quick run through here of the Scale Sprint system. As I mentioned, I have 2 offers. So we have the Scale Sprint offer, which is our done for you cold outreach system. So if you're an agency and you want this whole system not only implemented for you, but where we also run it for you, then you can check that out on scalesprint.io. But if you are a cold outreach agency, then you can apply for the consulting offer, where I'm basically going to help you reach the position that I've gotten to with my cold outreach company, Scale Sprints, where I am, for the most part, out of operations and basically have financial freedom from doing cold outreach and building these systems. So check that out in the description and the pinned comments. And thanks for watching the video.